do this. Let's do this. Yo, what is up, everybody? It is your boy Fitzmonk TV here, aka G-Lauren33. I want to welcome you guys back to the Legit Shoot podcast, here with your Monday Night Raw review and results for May 11, 2020. I want to thank you guys for joining me back on here tonight. I'm not at work tonight, so I'm not wearing my uniform. I'm at home in my room in the comfort of my own home. So no worries. We're in our natural environment. I want to thank everyone that's joining me here tonight on the live stream. I also want to thank everybody that's watching the podcast after the live stream is over. You guys are watching it back on playback after the stream has ended. But either if you're watching on live stream or watching it afterwards on playback, thank you guys for joining me. Regardless, I want to thank everybody who joined me for the Money in the Bank review pod last night. If you guys missed it, that video is live on the channel. I go in depth, about an hour and a half of a great podcast going in depth about Money in the Bank. We discussed the Money in the Bank ladder match, the winners. We talked about Drew McIntyre versus Seth Rollins and everything else that took place on Money in the Bank last night. A pay-per-view that, in my opinion, gets a thumbs up. But we're back here on Raw tonight, and Junior's already making me laugh on the chat. Junior says, watch Becky Lynch be on Murray a week from now. I was low-key thinking about that. But yes, Becky Lynch is going to be the huge topic of discussion on tonight's podcast. Earlier tonight, around 8:30, I posted a reaction video of me reacting to Becky Lynch's major announcement. If you guys missed it, or if you guys been living under a rock tonight, Becky Lynch announced that she is pregnant. We don't know if it's a boy or girl, but she's very early in her pregnancy, and she will be stepping away from WWE to become a mother, vacating the Raw Women's Championship to Asuka. And we're going to discuss all that tonight on the podcast. That will be the main topic of discussion. Becky Lynch, her pregnancy, Asuka, the women's division. That's going to be our main topic. But a lot happened on Raw tonight, and I'm not going to say that this was a good show, because there's a lot of stuff that still pissed me off. But the reason why this show is so big tonight is because a lot happened. It was very eventful. All right, just because a lot of stuff happened doesn't mean the show was good. There was some good stuff tonight, but we'll talk about that definitely. But overall, this was not the best show. I got to keep it a buck. But either way, we are going to be talking about Raw today, so thank you guys once again. I want to thank everybody who joined me on Twitter tonight. Like I said, if you guys are not following me on social media, the links are in the description down below. Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter. I love tweeting with you guys during Money in the Bank and Raw this weekend. You know, a lot of stuff happened, and you know, if you guys want to discuss wrestling with me, the quickest way to do it is just follow me on social media. So what are you waiting for? Also, if you guys are new to the channel, if you guys are watching this, because I went through my analytics, I know a lot of you guys are watching, who are watching my podcast or listening, are not subscribed. Like, why are you not subscribed? This is the best wrestling podcast on YouTube, and my loyal subscribers who watch every single week will let you know that firsthand. So if you guys are new to the channel, subscribe and enable notifications by clicking the bell right next to my name, Fitzmonk TV, so you guys are notified every time I post a new video. All right, so I just wanted to get that stuff out of the way. But we are going to be discussing Monday Night Raw. This could be a long podcast. Like I said, there was a lot that happened. You know, the show wasn't great in my eyes, but still a lot happened, a lot of discussion. If you guys want to donate and support the movement, you guys can send super chats. That is available. So definitely, if you guys are watching this in the live stream, make sure to leave comments, chat in the chat room, and let's talk about Raw tonight. What up, Emily? It's good to see you. Emily says it's my first live chat. Then welcome, Emily. All right, I'm glad to have you here. We go live every Monday and every pay-per-view. Usually the SmackDown reviews, those are, I don't go live, but I do the SmackDown reviews, and you guys get to see those when they go live. But everybody else in the chat, put a thumbs up if you guys are enjoying the pod. Leave a like on the video. It helps me up a ton. So let's get into Monday Night Raw. And like I said, the big thing on Raw tonight, the big topic of discussion, The man, Becky Lynch, is pregnant. Yes, Becky Lynch is pregnant. This was first reported earlier this afternoon. I would say about 4 or 5 o'clock. I was at work and I saw on Twitter there was a big thing going around that Becky had a huge announcement, and we know they're not going live with most of WWE programming. They film Raw in the afternoon and then edit it before the show goes live around 8 o'clock on the USA Network. And the big thing was Becky's big announcement, and I'm not gonna lie, I tweeted this very early this afternoon. Excuse me, around like 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. I tweeted that the only thing really that could surprise me about Becky Lynch's announcement is her being pregnant. I predicted this before it was even announced. I'm not saying, I'm like a mind reader, but you have to think about it. We are in a pandemic, right? Becky Lynch is already the Raw Women's Champion. So honestly, what could Becky really announce that would get the mind buzzing? Because everyone said it was a huge announcement. I was trying to think, really, since basically most things are shut down across the nation, we're still in this pandemic situation with the coronavirus. What could Becky announce? It came to my mind right away. Becky being pregnant. All right? Becky being pregnant was the first thing that came to my mind. And then it was around 5 o'clock, Wrestling Inc., Pro Wrestling Insider, some of the most credible sources in the community, they reported that what I had already came to know. Becky Lynch is pregnant. The man is pregnant, which is kind of weird to say, but it goes along because Becky calls herself the man. And you guys know, who, for those who've been watching me for about the last month, I've been complaining a lot about Becky Lynch. I made that video that some people didn't really like, talking about how Becky Lynch isn't the man anymore, basically because of how she's been booked as Raw Women's Champion over the last year. And I was really angry how, Bayley's out here defending the SmackDown Women's Championship every single month against everybody in the women's division. And Becky, most of the time, is not even on the show. But now with Becky's big announcement, her being pregnant tonight, it makes a lot more sense why she's not on the show. All right? She can't wrestle. You're pregnant. You don't want to risk something happening to the child. And it made a lot of sense. It still doesn't really change my thoughts on Becky's title reign. Becky as Raw Women's Champion just wasn't that good. I gotta be honest. She should have lost that title to Sasha Banks at Hell in a Cell, and I'll stick by that. And you guys know that and Junior says, since Becky Lynch is the man, I guess she's the father. I guess so. I guess Becky Lynch is the father of the child and the mother, which is weird. Anyway, back to Becky. I used to be a huge Becky Lynch fan. Those of you guys who have been watching me for a long time know. Can you please remove Charlotte from this graphic? Oh, Moose, definitely. I'll make sure to contact Sal Reacts. Sal Reacts, I gotta give a shout out to him. He did our Money in the Bank layout last night, and he does all the layouts here for us on the podcast. My boy Moose is in the chat. Remove Charlotte from the graphic. I definitely will do that. All right, definitely. And the thing is, we've had this layout since last fall, so I think it's time for a little bit of an update. So definitely, I'll ask Sal Reacts to update the Raw layout for us. All right, thanks for bringing that to my attention. And Junior's asking, is Becky Lynch transgender? I don't know, maybe. I don't know. She does call herself the man, so it's not none of my business. Anyway, let's get back to it. I used to be a huge Becky Lynch fan. For people who have been watching me for a long time, you guys know this. I was very huge when Becky Lynch originally turned heel, and when she first had this initial run. I have to keep reminding people of this because we have new listeners to the podcast each and every single week. And Lauren, I know Lauren, it's good to see you in the chat. Why is everyone Charlotte haters? Don't get me started on Charlotte, please. I don't want to talk about Charlotte. I don't want to talk about Charlotte too much. All right, I want to focus mostly on Becky, but you know why we can't stand Charlotte, Lauren. Like, I don't have to explain that to you. Anyway, let's get back into it. I was a huge Becky Lynch fan, and I feel like I have to let you guys know this every single week. It's because we have new listeners, new subscribers, new people listening here to the Legit Shoot podcast. And it was around the time when Becky Lynch's title reign started. That's when I started feeling these, negative feelings for her. And that's when Hell in a Cell happened, when she beat Sasha Banks. That's when I really started to turn on Becky. Deep down, I'm still a little bit supportive of Becky, but I gotta be honest, I find her a little bit overrated. Her Raw Women's Championship reign was garbage, and I'm happy that her reign is over. I've been saying for weeks now that Becky Lynch's title reign should have ended. I'll keep saying it. Becky's title reign should have ended in October to Sasha Banks at Hell in a Cell. Moose says in the chat, I was there at SummerSlam when Becky turned heel. It was a cool moment, but WWE can't let cool things happen naturally. Lauren, I'm not a Sasha hater. Maybe I should be a Sasha hater. Well, Lauren, if you want to be a Sasha hater, that is your own prerogative. But if you want to be a Sasha hater, you're going to get on my bad side real quick, because everyone knows this is a pro Sasha Banks channel. All right. I love how the chat is pretty active tonight. You guys are going to make this podcast about 2 hours long if you guys keep the chat going. But I'm not complaining. But anyway, getting back into it, Becky, they messed up Becky's title reign, and it should have ended the Sasha at Hell in a Cell. And then I got even more angry when they kept pushing Becky as the top star of the industry when she really wasn't. Even though I was happy for women's wrestling, I didn't like the way it was being done. And then having Becky, barely appear on WWE TV, barely show up to the tapings. She's more focused on doing movies and all this other stuff than defending her title, while Bayley's over here defending her title every single week and making the SmackDown Women's Championship look important. It pissed me off. And then I reached the boiling point. I was already almost at my boiling point after she beat Sasha, but I reached my boiling point when they had Shayna Baszler lose to her via roll-up at WrestleMania. And I've been killing and ripping Becky Lynch on the podcast each and every single week since then. I don't hate Becky Lynch, I just hate the way she's been booked as Raw Women's Champion. The way the man started, back to the way the man is now, I find the man more as a political figure, a political character. Becky Lynch, when she first got started as the man, it felt organic, and I loved it. It felt real. It really felt like Rebecca Quinn, when you heard the man. And then it just turned into a whole political figure for WWE's agenda. All right? That's where they fucked up with Becky Lynch. And now, but tonight, with Becky's announcement, I think this could honestly be the best thing for Becky Lynch. I feel like there was a lot of people outside. I said this on the Money in the Bank podcast last night. There was a lot of people. Lauren, Becky's going to be on Murray Jr. Yes, I'll tell you that's the comment of the night. Becky is going to be on Murray. I love it. But I feel like this could honestly be a really good thing for Becky. I feel like there was a lot of people that were, including myself, that were really reaching fatigue with the man character, her being Raw Women's Champion. Because honestly, Becky was becoming way too much like Charlotte. Charlotte has buried the women's division for the last 5 years. Charlotte is a 10, 11-time champion when she should be nowhere close to that. Nowhere close to that. But now, Becky, especially with how her title reign was going and what they did with Shayna, they were fucking up Becky each and every single week, and it was pissing me off. I honestly was starting to think of Becky on the same level when I think of Charlotte, because you guys know I can't stand Charlotte. I hate Charlotte. I really do. I've hated Charlotte since Hell in a Cell 2016, and I will never like Charlotte. There will never be a day where I'll be on Charlotte's side. Never. I'll never support her. No. All right. She's only where she's at because of her body, her look, and her being Ric Flair's daughter. I don't care what anybody says. All right. I was starting to get to that level with Becky Lynch, but I honestly think this was one of the best things for Becky Lynch's career. I know there's going to be a lot of people that are going to say, oh, Becky really messed up. Becky really messed up because look at Becky. She's viewed as one of the top stars in WWE, and now here she is. She's pregnant. She's at the prime of her career. And the thing about it is, ask Brie Bella. Ask Karma. You know, back in 2011, remember how dominant Karma was? They were building her up to be the most dominant force in WWE's Divas division. They were going to make her Divas champion, and then she got pregnant. And then she never came back. She just came back to the wrestling world like last year at AEW Double or Nothing, you know? The only reason why people still know who she is because of her time in WWE. But the thing is, Karma was gone for, you think about it, that was back in 2011. She came back last year in 2019. That was an 8-year difference. You know, 8 years. Ask Brie Bella. After Brie Bella had her daughter, she tried to come back to WWE and she was terrible. Remember? Botch mode! Like, should I say anything else? Like, I at first I was thinking, oh, you know, and I found it funny. Ronda Rousey's been gone for over a year, and Ronda Rousey has been, how many times has Ronda Rousey said in interviews that, you know, she's leaving WWE, but she will eventually come back, but she wants to have babies with Travis, her husband, and all this other stuff. Ronda's been gone from WWE for a year now, and she's still, based on what we know, she still hasn't gotten pregnant. I don't know why. That's not really our business, but she still hasn't gotten pregnant. Becky, 1 year, it's been 1 year since Ronda left the company, all right, and we know Ronda's eventually gonna come back, but it's been 1 year since she left, and now Becky's pregnant, which I find freaking hilarious. Like, Seth was able to get it in. I don't know what if Travis is not doing something right, but I don't know. Just a little quick joke. Maybe Travis needs to go get some freaking Blue Chew or something like that. But anyway, getting back to it, you know, having a baby, I don't know, I'm not a female, but, you know, based on what I know, my friends that have children, and based on what I understand, having children is a very difficult process for a female. It's crazy. Men will never know what that feels like, all right? But it's a huge process. It's 9 months to carry a child, have the baby, recovery, and then if Becky chooses to come back, you know, the training to get her body back in shape. You know, you don't understand how hard it is for WWE superstars to get into the shape that they are in, all right? They have to train once or twice a day, be on a specific diet, you know, cardio, sleep schedule, all this to have the bodies and the physique that they do. That's why, you know, whenever I went to a WWE show, I'm so impressed with how a WWE superstar look. I remember going to a house show and seeing Drew McIntyre, how huge he is in person, and seeing his physique. The guy spends hours in the gym training himself. It's one thing. Oh, Emily, we will talk about the Iconics. Don't get me started on that. Like I said, there's so much to talk about on the podcast here tonight. All right, but I'm telling you, I'm gonna spend like a good 30 minutes on this whole Becky situation. All right, just letting you guys know. Anyway, getting back into it. Yeah, like I said, I saw Drew McIntyre at a house show. It's one thing to look at how ripped these superstars are on TV, but seeing them in person, it gives you a whole nother level of appreciation of the time they spend in the gym working on their bodies. Becky Lynch, you know, we don't get to see her physique much because of the way her attire is. You know, where you get to see her abs and how her body is built. But I'm willing to bet Becky Lynch is ripped. She's ripped. So look at Sasha Banks. She's absolutely ripped. All right. If Becky Lynch, she's gonna go have a child. I don't know how far along. She's probably 1 or 2 months pregnant. I'm not sure. She didn't state, but let's just get that. She'll have the baby around what? November, December, January, somewhere around that time. She'll have her child, right? I heard it takes a good 3-4 months just to get back your normal weight. And then after that, it takes even longer if Becky chooses to recover, all right, and come back to WWE. It's going to take her a good couple of months just to try to get her body in ring shape. So Becky's going to be out for probably at least a year, maybe a year and a half. All right. I know some people are like, maybe they'll push Becky to come back for WrestleMania next year against and I see Stimpy in the chat. Stimpy says, "Are you going to say how WWE treat the money big cash in like a joke today? Like it's not special?" I'll get to Oscar in just a second. Like let me get to my point. All right. Like I said, I have a lot to say tonight, so just be patient with me. We'll get to Oscar and my thoughts on what they did tonight in a little bit. what I said is some people thought Becky would be able to come back for a potential match with Ronda Rousey at WrestleMania 37 in Hollywood next year, if there is a WrestleMania in Hollywood. I don't think that's possible. If we could get a Becky Lynch versus Ronda Rousey match, that probably won't happen till next SummerSlam if we're lucky. All right, that the amount of time it would take Becky Lynch to get back in ring shape, it's gonna be a while. That's why Becky was very emotional on social media, because if you look at it, Daniel Bryan, his wife Brie Bella is about to have a child. They're about to have their second child. He's still wrestling each and every single week. It's easier for him. For a female, the toll of pregnancy on the body is something completely different. All right, Karma was gone for almost a decade. We don't know how long it's going to take Becky Lynch to come back, if she does choose to come back. I'm willing to bet Becky will probably come back eventually, but for now, I don't know. But I'm very happy for Becky Lynch, truly, or Rebecca Quinn. I am very happy for her. You can see the emotion on her face tonight. I am very happy. And the thing is, like I said, there's a lot of us that were non-Becky Lynch fans that were getting very fatigued with her. And I feel like, now we're going to get a break for Becky. And, if she does choose to come back, which she probably will, maybe a year and a half from now, 2 years, whenever, then everyone's going to love Becky again. All right. It's going to be something kind of like the Daniel Bryan Yes movement. I'm not comparing Becky Lynch to the Yes movement. I'm just saying, when Becky comes back, because she is a fan favorite, whenever she does chooses to come back, it's going to be special. And the moment we had tonight with Asuka and Becky Lynch, it was fantastic. All right, Stimpy, you were asking my thoughts on the cash-in. I thought the cash-in was fantastic. I think WWE did an amazing job with this segment. And it does piss me off because this shows you that when WWE wants to, they can be creative as hell. Look at how great The Undertaker versus AJ Styles Boneyard match was. Look how great John Cena versus the Bray Wyatt Firefly Funhouse match was. Look at how great the Money in the Bank ladder match last night was. It was fun, it was entertaining, it was different, and we all enjoyed it. Look at what they did with Becky Lynch and Asuka tonight. When WWE wants to, they can be creative. It just shows you how lazy and uncreative WWE can be. They rather just go do their tired old formula, do the same thing every single week, rinse and repeat, instead of doing what will actually help the company. And it pisses me off. It really does. Let's talk about Becky Lynch's segment tonight. So, like I said, we all knew, or at least I knew going to the show that Becky was going to announce her pregnancy. It's just that we didn't know how it was going to be done. I'm glad they did it at the start of the show and they didn't wait till the end. They could if they wanted to, but I think it was a very smart move to start the show with that. All right, and we know WWE, they announced Becky coming back tonight, Edge and Randy Orton, and now they're not ending the brand split, but they're gonna let superstars from Raw and SmackDown go to different brands because they're trying to increase the ratings. Even though Baron Corbin versus Drew McIntyre, which we'll talk about a little bit later, that is not going to increase the ratings at all. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. Anyway, excuse me. Becky Lynch comes out, the show starts off, and she's walking down the ring with the Money in the Bank briefcase. The same briefcase that Asuka won less than 24 hours before. And I'm just like, and I'm like, I'm liking this. I thought they were going to do something like Becky comes down to the ring with the Raw Women's Championship and hands it to Asuka, or lets Asuka pin her or something like that. No, I really like the way they did this. So Becky comes out with the Money in the Bank briefcase, and she gets very emotional on the mic, and she's talking about, and you could tell this was really more Rebecca Quinn talking than Becky Lynch, the man. Even though what they did tonight goes along with her character, this was more Rebecca than anything. So Rebecca is standing in the ring and she's getting very emotional. She's talking about how when she first came to the US, she first came to NXT and all these other things, how she didn't know and how she's learned so much since 2013. And if you guys want to go into depth on that, just go watch Becky's WWE 24 story that's on the WWE Network. So then she's talking about how tonight is going to be one of the craziest decisions of her night, crazy announcements, and she wanted to come out and make this announcement herself because she believes that the fans that have supported her through her journey deserves to hear this from her first. So right before she's about to make the announcement, Asuka comes out, and Asuka's speaking in Japanese. And like I said, outside of probably Seth Rollins, Asuka has been the best thing on these performance center shows with no crowd. Asuka has been incredible, and it's one of the reasons why I believe Asuka was given Money in the Bank. I'll expand on those reasons in just a couple moments. So Asuka comes out and she's talking in Japanese. She's going off, and I love it. I love when Asuka does that. And she's like, "Oh, why do you have my briefcase?" And Becky's trying to calm her down, like Asuka, calm down. It's not what you think. So Asuka has this confused looking like, what the hell's going on? And Becky's like, okay, last night was the Money in the Bank briefcase, but there was a special there's a special thing that you did not know, or anybody else in that match didn't know. And Becky also said, I loved when she said this, Becky said, I am especially proud that you were the one that won the match, because, and I felt this was really good, because if you think about it, who is Becky Lynch's greatest rival of all time? You can make the case for Ronda Rousey. You can make the case for Charlotte, as much as I hate her. You can make the case for Sasha Banks. You can make the case for Bayley. But in my opinion, I feel like a lot of us will agree, Becky's greatest rival ever is Asuka. You can go back to their battles over the SmackDown Women's Championship. You can go to their battles over the Raw Women's Championship. Becky and Asuka have some tremendous battles over the year. So it really made sense, and I really liked how Becky was relating to their rivalry when she said this. Where over the course of Becky being the man, the person that challenged her the most outside of Sasha Banks once was Asuka. All right? So Becky, you could see the emotion on her face, and she told Asuka, you see, you haven't been able to open this briefcase all day long, because Becky was like, I'm the only one that knows the code. So then she puts the code into the briefcase opens up, and you don't see a contract, you see the Raw Women's Championship. The Raw Women's Championship, which Becky has been holding for the last 399 days. So if she had held the title any longer, she would have been Raw Women's Champion for over 400 days. All right, as bad as you guys know I felt her reign was, still, it's whatever. All right, let's not get into an argument about this. So she says, Asuka's like, what? Like, what's going on? Nani? Nani means what in Japanese, for you guys who don't know. Nani? Anyway, Becky says, what no one knew is you weren't fighting for the Money in the Bank briefcase. You weren't fighting for a contract for a championship match. You were truly fighting for the Raw Women's Championship. And then Asuka's like, I'm the champion? All right? And then Becky's like, you're the champion, and she hands the Raw Women's Championship over to Asuka. Very great moment. I will say this, the only thing that hurt this moment, or could have made this moment better, is if there was a live audience. If there was a live audience in that performance center, or if they had the live crowd and we weren't going through this pandemic, this would be a fantastic moment. Because as love her or hate her, Becky Lynch has been running the Raw Women's division for the last year. Right? It's like she's passing the torch off to Asuka. In a way, her greatest rival. She's like, you take it, you run with it. And then Asuka's going crazy. You could see how Becky was truly happy. Even though she was giving up the Raw Women's Championship, she was gaining something even more special, which is, the chance of being a mother, having a baby. So Asuka is celebrating over the entire performance center. She's celebrating on the announce table. She's celebrating on the ramp. She comes back in the ring, and I love it. And then Asuka says, as happy as you are to be the champion, I don't think you can be as happy as me. All right. And Asuka's like, what do you mean? And then Becky's like, you go and be a warrior. You go be the Raw Women's Champion. You be the face of the division. You be a warrior. Becky goes, then I'm gonna go and be a mother. And I loved it. That was a pretty cool line. You go be a warrior, I'm going to go be a mother. And then Asuka's like, you're gonna be a mother, and then Asuka, she gives Becky a huge hug, and it's like in that split second, Asuka turned babyface. It's like right there, she turned babyface, and it was crazy. It was a fantastic moment. It was a fantastic moment for everybody. And she's going crazy. She's hugging Becky. They're celebrating, and Asuka's going, Becky, Becky, Becky. And as hard as I've been on Becky Lynch, deep down I still do like Becky. I just feel like the way she's been booked, since being Raw Women's Champion has not been done correctly. That's all. But I was truly happy for Becky. I was really happy for Asuka. My boy Anthony told me last night that he was scared, and he believed personally that Asuka was going to fail her cash in on Becky. And I said last night on the Money in the Bank podcast, if WWE decided to make this decision, I would be pissed off, and I would give you guys the rant of the century. I'm so glad I won't have to do that rant. I'm happy I will never have to make that video. I am so happy for Becky. Becky is now going to be gone for the next, how long it is. But thing is, this is good for Becky. All right, the fatigue is gone, and when she does come back, everyone will be on Becky's side again, and they'll want to see her succeed. Hopefully they won't fuck up Becky this time and make her into a political figure, but we'll cross that bridge when we'll cross it. But for Asuka, I am happy. She deserves it. She has been the best thing outside of Seth Rollins on Raw for these Performance Center shows, And I saw JD from NY206 say, oh, Asuka should not be the champion. They should have done a tournament, and the winner of that tournament faces Asuka. No, I'm sorry, JD. I got to disagree with you. All right. The way they did it tonight, they made the Money in the Bank briefcase look creative. They had the championship in the briefcase. Imagine if freaking Nia Jax or Lacey Evans grabbed that briefcase and they would be the ones sitting here being Raw Women's Champion. I would have ranted. I would have ripped all over this. I would have called this disgusting. But the fact that it's Asuka, I'm happy for her. I truly am. Asuka is now a babyface. All right. Hopefully they let Asuka run with the title, because Asuka in the past as a babyface has not been done correctly. Has not. Remember, this is the same woman that lost to Charlotte at WrestleMania 34, and this is the same woman they had WWE. They had her lose the SmackDown Women's Championship 2 weeks before WrestleMania 35. The freaking Charlotte. I don't want to get mad, but you guys can hear the anger in my voice, slowly rising. Like I said, I'm happy for Asuka. She is the right person for the job. I'm not going to say I understand why now they didn't make Shayna the champion. I'm not sure how long WWE knew that Becky was pregnant. I'm going to guess probably sometime in the last month, because it makes sense why now Becky didn't wrestle at Money in the Bank. But still, it's whatever at the end of the day. But I don't know how long Asuka is going to be champion. I'm still terrified. If Asuka was to lose the title to Shayna Baszler, that's one thing. But I am terrified that they're going to have freaking Nia Jax. And I can already see people in the chat, they're worried as well. I am scared for my life that they're going to make Nia Jax champion. And you will get an epic rant from me if Nia Jax becomes champion. Asuka should hold that title for most of the rest of the year. I'm not saying she needs to go on a 1-year title reign or something like that, but she should at least hold that title for the... I just have it on my mind. Bianca Belair. Bianca Belair should be the person to take the Raw Women's Championship off of Asuka. We've barely seen Bianca Belair on Raw since she got moved up the night after WrestleMania, but... I'm sorry. Shayna Baszler, even though Shayna Baszler is great, I see Shayna Baszler as buried. Sorry. As great as Shayna Baszler was on tonight's show, she's still buried in my eyes. Thing about it is, will Vince ever push Bianca Belair? He should, but Bianca Belair is Bianca Belair is one of the top 5 women's wrestlers in this entire company. I don't know if Vince will make that decision. He probably won't. Just look at the way he booked Sasha. All right, but I'm just saying, if I'm the one in charge, if somebody from WWE is watching this, the right decision would be to build up Bianca Belair to be the one to take the Raw Women's title off of Asuka. This is what I do. You have challenges for Asuka. Now that they turn her babyface. Also, you know, Asuka was celebrating backstage with Kairi Sane, who I was surprised was even there tonight. Because, and then Moose says Shayna versus Asuka won't be special after what happened in the chamber. You know, true, but thing is, Shayna Baszler, she's only lost once since being moved up to the main roster. I don't know. I still feel it won't be special, but I'll still take an Asuka and Shayna Baszler match. I'll take that. I'll take that over Asuka versus Nia Jax any day of the week and twice on Sundays. You know what I mean? And the thing about it is, you know, Bianca Belair, she hasn't been buried on the main roster because she hasn't done anything. We haven't seen her since WrestleMania. But like I said, the right way would be have Bianca Belair go on a streak, beat a Liv Morgan, beat a Natalya, beat a Nia Jax, beat a Shayna Baszler, beat everybody in that division, and work her way up to Asuka. Maybe, honestly, that should probably be the match, in my opinion, for SummerSlam. All right? If it happens, you heard it here first. It should be. WWE won't do it, but it should be Asuka versus Bianca Belair at SummerSlam for the Raw Women's Championship. You know, they have challenges for Asuka. You could do Shayna Baszler. You know, like I said, the match isn't special since they kind of messed it up at Elimination Chamber, but I'll still take the match. I'll take a 20-minute Asuka versus Shayna Baszler match any day of the week and twice on Sundays. You know, they could do Asuka versus Nia Jax. The reason why I don't want to see that is Nia Jax, one, is awful in the ring, and because I'm scared that they would give Nia Jax the title. I would take Asuka versus Liv Morgan. You guys know I've been very high on Liv Morgan as of late. I feel like she has the potential to one day be a Raw Women's Champion. Asuka and Liv Morgan did have a pretty good TV match not long ago. So definitely, if we were to get that match, I would take it. But either way, man, I'm happy for Asuka. I'm just hoping they let her run with the title. I'm not asking for a one-year championship reign. Sasha Banks deserves a one-year championship reign. Will Sasha ever get it? Please, I don't want to get started on that, but you guys know my bone on Sasha Banks, the best female wrestler of all time. I'm not asking for an Asuka one-year championship reign. I'm asking you to give Asuka a decent reign at best. You know, if you want to give me Asuka versus Bianca Belair at SummerSlam, that should honestly be the match. You know, but don't give me some 2-month reign. She doesn't. Asuka has worked her butt off. She has been the best thing on Monday Night Raw since this whole pandemic started. And I'm looking at the chat. Vince says, or Moose says, you think two people Vince isn't really high on are getting 20 minutes? LOL. Black Panther says, Kairi Sane turns heel and feuds with Asuka. I will take that. I would take that. Asuka versus Kairi Sane, that would be great. You remember how good Kairi Sane versus freaking Shayna Baszler was at WWE Evolution? Imagine how good a match between Asuka and Kairi Sane could be if WWE built it up. Like, there are challenges for Asuka. You have a Shayna Baszler, you have a Kairi Sane, you have a Bianca Belair, you have a Liv Morgan, you know? Honestly, like Moose said, Asuka should have been undefeated until Mania 35 in the main event versus Ronda Rousey. Streak versus streak. I perfectly agree. Asuka should have never lost. Never should have lost to Charlotte at WrestleMania 34. She should have won that title at WrestleMania 34 against Charlotte and held that title all the way till WrestleMania 35 against Ronda Rousey. You know, honestly, I could make an argument that, I don't know why my nose is itchy today. I can make an argument that Sasha Banks should have been in the main event of WrestleMania, but let's not have that conversation, all right? Let's not have that conversation. I am happy for Asuka, and that's it. Let's just see where they go. We don't have any clear-cut challenger. I think right now, if I had to make a guess, our next pay-per-view is Backlash, which is in the beginning, or like June 10th, I believe. So if I had to make a prediction, I think we'll probably get Asuka versus Shayna Baszler. She's the only one you can make an argument for right now. We'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, I'm happy for Asuka. I just pray that WWE doesn't fuck it up, but I don't trust WWE. You guys know the drill. Next thing I want to talk about the father, the real father of the man's child. Unless, you know, like Junior said earlier, Becky Lynch is on Mary in the next couple weeks, and we have to find out who the true father of Becky Lynch, but Becky Lynch's child is. But let's be serious. we all know the child of Becky Lynch is Seth Rollins. I want to talk about him first because, as you guys saw by the thumbnail, Seth had a very interesting night on Monday Night Raw tonight. So, Seth Rollins last night against Drew McIntyre, he went up against Drew McIntyre at Money in the Bank for the WWE Championship, and it was fantastic. It was easily the best match on the card. And like I said about the Asuka and Becky Lynch segment to start the show, I will say the same thing about Drew versus Seth. Drew has been a fantastic WWE champion. We'll talk about Drew a little bit later on in the podcast, but Seth Rollins, man. Seth Rollins is the guy I want to talk about right now. You know, he was a great challenger for Drew, a first really great opponent to get Drew's title reign off and running. And, you know, I'm happy for him. He's going to be a father. I saw a lot of jokes tonight that Seth is a dirty dog because Seth didn't pull out of Becky. And, because of that, Becky's in the prime of her career, and then we don't know if Becky's ever going to be able to wrestle again. Like I said earlier, a female wrestler having a child has a much larger effect than a guy, you know. But, you know, congratulations to Seth. There was a backstage interview with Rey Mysterio talking about being thrown off of the WWE headquarters by Baron Corbin. Him and Aleister Black met the same fate, but it was revealed that, you know, there was another roof, a second roof under the top roof that saved the lives of Mysterio and Black. And I feel bad for Rey Mysterio. I don't know why they're always doing my boy Rey Mysterio dirty. Like, you know, you have Andrade ripping his mask off. They're always, you know, using Rey Mysterio for these vicious attacks. It's crazy, if you ask me. So basically what happened is Rey Mysterio was having an interview, and he was talking about how him and Aleister Black had a tag team match between Seth Rollins and Buddy Murphy. Seth Rollins came over, and the guy looked absolutely out of it. His hair, you know, he looked like he hadn't showered. He looked like the wreck. All right, I kind of liked this. I was intrigued with all this. But then Rey said, "May the best team win tonight" in their tag team match. But then he also said, on another note, congratulations to Seth, you know, because becoming a father is one of the best things that any person can experience in this world. And he tried to shake Seth's hand, and Seth just looked at him and, you know, just turned around. You know, the guy looked like he was not there. Lauren, why you gotta put that in my mind? Imagine if Sasha won the women's Money in the Bank. Why you gotta put that in my mind? All right? Like I said last night, I wish that Sasha was in the Money in the Bank. But you really gotta put that in my mind? Really? I don't know. I rather, as happy as I was for Asuka, I'd rather see Sasha win the title, making Bayley tap out. You know what I mean? But anyway, I really like that comment though. Thank you, Lord. Anyway, back to Seth. Seth looked out of it. Excuse me. We go on to the match, and we have Aleister Black, Rey Mysterio in the ring, and then Seth's doing his entrance. I'm still not used to his new theme song as of yet. I'm trying to give it, you know, some belief, but right now I'm just not a big believer in that theme song. I just gotta be honest. So Seth comes down to the ring, and the guy's completely out of it, all right? Throughout the entire match, this went on for about 10 to 13 minutes. He's just standing there on the apron. He's not trying to make tags. He's leaving. It's basically almost like a 2-on-1 handicap match. Until near the end of the match, the ending sequence, we see Buddy Murphy. He pushes Rey Mysterio into Seth's corner, and it knocks Seth down off the apron. And it's like this moment, you know, reawakens Seth. Seth just woke out of whatever brain coma he was in, and then Rey Mysterio was able to set up Murphy for the 619. He runs and he goes to flip through the ropes, but then Seth grabs him and throws him down. The ref calls for the DQ bell, and Seth is just beating down on Mysterio on the outside. Seth screams at Murphy, "Stay back! Stay back! Let me handle this." And he starts beating down on Mysterio. Then he drags Mysterio. This is when shit gets crazy. He drags Mysterio over to the steel ring steps, and he starts ripping Mysterio's mask, off slowly, so his eye is fully exposed, and he starts raking Mysterio's eyes right into And Lauren says, hold up. Lauren says, you would have been pissed. You would have said, this is disrespectful to Sasha. She only won beat Becky was leaving. She should have been Bailey, blah, blah. I probably would have said that, Lauren. Lauren. I agree. Lauren, you can see Lauren's a loyal subscriber. She knows how we do it here on the Legit Shoot podcast. All right. But yeah, if they had done that, with Sasha with the whole briefcase, I probably would have been a little bit angry. Like I said, I would rather see Sasha win a title, making Bailey tapped out. I have no problem with the way they did with Asuka, but Sasha, no, she's the best female wrestler in the world. You don't have to do some briefcase. Sasha never needed the women's money to big briefcase, even though it would have been cool to see her win it. You know what I mean? But I'd rather see Sasha make Bailey tap out at SummerSlam. All right. Anyway, let's get back into it. Seth Rollins is raking Rey Mysterio's eyes into the steel steps. Just raking it. And you can see Mysterio is screaming. Seth, he's making that demonic look, which you guys can see in the thumbnail. And he's like, it didn't have to be this way, Rey. It didn't have to be this way. All right. And then out of it, you see it looks like Rey's eye is bleeding. I'm not sure if that was real. They probably had to have some kind of blood capsule there. They had to, maybe they edited it in or something like that, because there's no way they would actually have Seth injure Rey's eye like that. No way. But still, the medics run over. Seth is he's walking up the ramp. Murphy doesn't know what to say, and he's just bleeding, and they take his mask off, they cover it with the towel, and that's how the segment ends. Then we come back from commercial. We see Rey is in the trainer's room. They're trying to help him with his eye. They're trying to treat his injury. Aleister Black is over there checking on Mysterio. Then we see Seth. Seth comes out of nowhere and he's like, where's Rey? Where's Rey? And we have no idea what's going to happen. We're like, is Seth coming back to do more damage? Or no. Seth comes back and he is actually very concerned about Mysterio. He's like, where's Rey? Like, I have no idea what happened. He's yelling at Aleister like, I have no idea what happened out there. It's like, Seth believes he was mind controlled or possessed or something like that. And I love this. Then out of nowhere, Aleister Black just starts attacking Buddy Murphy. Officials come over to break it up. And then Seth just walks away. He just says, oh, I have no idea what happened over there. He lets Murphy brawl with Black, and then Rollins walks away. This was done tremendously. I don't know what they're trying to do, but my boy Anthony texted me and he said something. Let me try to find the text real quick. Let me try to text quick. Here we go. Moose said, and I quote, Seth has to turn into a cult leader on WWE programming. That was amazing. His look during the match was amazing. He has the look for a Charles Manson type of figure. He can be like CM Punk back when he was running the Straight Edge Society. And the thing is, if Moose says something is great, it's great. Remember, Moose doesn't watch the main roster anymore. Anthony said that he really liked the Asuka and Becky Lynch segment, and he said he liked the Seth Rollins segment tonight. So if you can get Moose of all people to say two good things about something that happened on the main roster, then you should be listening. All right, because me and Moose can be really negative, but like I said, what they did with Seth tonight was great. I'm still not a fan of his theme song, but still, overall, what they did with Seth was pretty damn good tonight. It was entertaining. I don't know what they're trying to do. If they're trying to make Seth look like a maniac now or something like that, or some kind of double personality, or like Two-Face, like Harvey Dent from the Batman franchise. But definitely they should let Seth run with this. I have no problem with Seth trying to be like a cult leader. I feel like that would be another layer to add on top of his Messiah character. I was also thinking maybe they have Seth do something like, if you guys remember back in the Attitude Era when the Undertaker had, the whole Ministry of Darkness. Maybe they could do something with Seth. Seth's over here attacking baby faces, doing violent things to that. Because there was really no reason why Seth, attacked Ray. He never gave a reason. It made really no sense. It was fucking fantastic. It was great. But at the end of the day, it didn't make any sense. Hopefully we get some kind of explanation on this. But, if WWE, one problem I have with WWE is they don't realize when they have something special. They did that with Becky Lynch as the man. She was special, and then they fucked it up once she became Raw Women's Champion. They did the same thing with The Fiend. The Fiend was special, and he got so popular so quickly, and they went and fucked it up. They rushed him into that feud with Seth Rollins, and that's when we get that whole Hell in a Cell 2019 debacle. Black Panther says Seth Rollins' new wrestling nickname, the psychotic demigod. That's actually a pretty cool name. I don't think they're gonna change Seth's name anytime soon because right now, he is the Messiah on WWE TV, but still. It's definitely something they can do on WWE TV. Let's see what they do with Seth here. Samoa Joe was talking on commentary how Seth needs to be stopped. So I don't know. Remember, Samoa Joe did get injured. And then he got suspended by WWE before WrestleMania, so it left Kevin Owens to go up against Seth Rollins alone, and we know Kevin Owens is injured right now. If they want, I wouldn't mind them revisiting the Samoa Joe Seth Rollins feud. They can do that again if they want. I wouldn't mind it, because I think most likely we're gonna probably get. And if I'm WWE, I would definitely do this. Do Seth Rollins versus Edge at SummerSlam. No matter if there's a crowd or no crowd, I would definitely do Seth Rollins versus Edge at SummerSlam. I think that would be fucking fantastic if they did something like that. But either way, I loved what they did with Seth tonight. Hopefully they continue this over the next couple of months and they make it into something special. I don't trust WWE, but let's see where they go with this. Next up, I know I'm not really going in chronological order tonight, but like I said, there's a lot of stuff for us to talk about. I want to talk about the main event really quick because I want to get that out of the way. Because speaking of Edge did make his return tonight. They did advertise this Monday Night Raw as being, the big returns of Becky Lynch, Randy Orton, Edge, and etc because they're trying to get the ratings back up where they should be, because Raw has been Raw and SmackDown have been garbage for the most part since Mania. So they have Edge come out, and this was about 10 minutes left in the show, and Charlie Caruso asks Edge, what's next for Edge? We haven't seen Edge or Randy Orton since WrestleMania, since their Last Man Standing match, which wasn't bad, but the match went on, for way too long. It went on for freaking hours, and, it did hurt the match. It really did. The match went on for, it was like a 40-minute match. It was ridiculous. But Edge comes out and basically he talks about how WWE was advertising this as Edge hunting for Randy Orton, and then Edge goes like, I wasn't informed of this. Like, I got my closer at WrestleMania. I have no other business to handle with Randy Orton. Like, what's done is done. That's in the past. So we come back and we see that Randy Orton comes out. And he confronts Edge. And part of me was thinking, are we going to see like a rated RKO reunion? Have these two put their issues behind them and they're actually going to reunite for real this time? But no, Randy Orton comes out and at first he just says two words. He says, "Congratulations, you were the better man. You were the better man at WrestleMania," and he walks out. He looks like, he says his words, he says his piece, and he's gone. But no, that's not what WWE had in mind. Orton comes back in the ring and then he starts talking. He's not really talking crap, but he starts talking like how he can't hold his tongue, how he can't just, give up like that. He talks about how he it would be too easy if he just came out, apologized, and him and Edge could be buddies like they were back in the old days. He said he's not done with Edge and he wants payback. He goes on saying how Edge once called him one of the greatest wrestlers alive. And, you know, he goes on like this whole other stuff. Like, you had to come back and challenge me to a last man standing match, you know, but at this stage of your career, you know, you have not had a real one-on-one singles match since 2011. And it's kind of true. When he first came back, and Black Panther says, oh, Edge versus Seth Rollins at WrestleMania 37. No. As great as that would be, I would do Edge versus Seth Rollins at SummerSlam. That's what I would do. Because Edge, he's back. I don't see Edge is not going anywhere anytime soon. Yes, he's on a part-time schedule, but you know, with Edge and Seth Rollins, I don't want to wait a year for that. But what they're doing with Seth right now, you're gonna need a really good opponent for Edge. Unless the only way I would take Edge versus Seth Rollins at next year's WrestleMania is if we get Edge versus AJ Styles. Because I would definitely take Edge versus AJ Styles at SummerSlam over Edge versus what's his name? Edge versus Seth Rollins. I'll even take Edge versus Drew McIntyre. I don't think we're gonna get it, but hey, if they wanted to give us Edge versus Drew McIntyre or Edge versus Brock Lesnar, I would not complain. There's tons of matches you could do with Edge. You know, the guy, even though he's much older, the guy's still as great as he's ever has been in the ring. Right? He can still give you a really damn good match. But the way I look at it with Edge and Randy Orton, you know, basically, Randy Orton challenges Edge to a one-on-one singles match for Backlash. He says, if you have the balls, because we know you have the grit, but if you have the balls, face me in a one-on-one singles match at Backlash. And I knew where they were going for this. You know, on one occasion, you look at it, WWE, they never really got to have the superstar shakeup, right? So, you know, it's like, hey, they're trying to find feuds. They're trying to keep things competitive because they don't want to, you know, start having to turn superstars heel and babyface randomly just to create new feuds. And I know that's also part of this whole WWE brand invitational thing they're doing, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But at the end of the day, I'm not that interested in Edge and Randy Orton. It was the best story on the road to WrestleMania this year. It had the best build, the best story, and it had all the hype about it. Was the match at WrestleMania disappointing? To an extent, yes. Mainly because the match was way too long. The match should have not gone any longer really than 30 minutes. The match went close to an hour. It was crazy. And I feel like deep down, Edge and Randy Orton do know that, you know, even though in public they'll never say this, but deep down privately, they know that they could have done a better job. You know, being the veteran professionals that they are, they know that they could have done a better job at WrestleMania. So I feel like this is just WWE just trying to give us a do-over, you know? And I expect Randy Orton to get the victory. You know, Edge never responded to the challenge, but we all know Edge will definitely respond to the challenge, no matter if it's on Raw next week or it's on social media or it's just announced randomly. At Backlash, we're going to get Edge versus Randy Orton one-on-one. And, you know, the whole thing is, I see Randy Orton winning this match because why wouldn't he? They're going to have Randy Orton get his win back over Edge, and that'll probably lead to a third and final match, you know, maybe at either SummerSlam or maybe what's the next pay-per-view after this? Is it Battleground or is it Extreme Rules, something like that? The last match will probably be either like something like a Steel Cage or TLC, something like that. You know, they're just looking for a way to continue this feud. There's other feuds for Edge and Randy Orton. There's other people that can feud with. You could do Randy Orton versus Aleister Black. Like I said, you could do Edge versus Kevin Owens, Edge versus McIntyre, Edge versus Joe, Edge versus Styles, Edge versus, you know, Bobby Lashley. There's tons of opponents for Edge and Randy Orton on Raw. But, it's just, like I said, they did such a great job with the creativity of the Money in the Bank ladder match and the Becky Lynch and Asuka segment tonight. And then they go on and they do something uncreative like this. This is why I'm always getting mad about, WWE. Because they're only creative for when they want to be. All right, Edge versus Randy Orton, there's no business. The feud should be over. All right, you had the last man standing match, even though it was a little disappointing, especially because of the time link. It is what it is. Edge got his payback. He got his closure. There's really no need to continue the feud. No need. I don't understand why we're getting it again, but this means for me that WWE's just being lazy. That's really all I see at the end of the day. But we'll see how Edge responds in the coming weeks, and we'll see what happens. So that's my thoughts on that. Moving forward, let's talk about some ring action. So we had a no disqualification match between Humberto Carrillo and Bobby Lashley. It seems like WWE is building Bobby Lashley up for a Raw for a WWE Championship match. Bobby Lashley has been on a streak. He was dominant in the Gauntlet match last week before he got himself disqualified. And, he's been defeating opponents left and right. He's been dominant. This is the way Bobby Lashley should have always been. I'm still waiting for the Bobby Lashley-Brock Lesnar match. But honestly, this is the way Lashley should have always been booked. I don't care about Humberto. The guy's a loser. You guys know what I feel about that. I didn't even watch I didn't watch the match. I don't understand why this wasn't a no disqualification match. But still, Carrillo did a jumping move from the top rope, and then Lashley caught him. He didn't win with the spear, but hit him with the full Nelson for the submission victory. There was a backstage segment here, and it looks like they are still teasing about the whole Bobby Lashley and Lana breakup. Sadly, Rusev is still gone, and he's never coming back. So we never really got any closer between the loss of Bobby Lashley and Lana triangle. But anyway, it is what it is. But they are teasing the breakup of Lashley and Lana more and more each and every single week. MVP was there backstage, and they were talking about, how Lashley is in the same place where he was in 2007, back when MVP first started out in WWE. Lashley has all the tools to be a dominant force, but is still not a champion on WWE TV. And I completely agree. Bobby Lashley, he's really good in the ring. Yeah, he has no charisma, but that's why you put him with a guy like MVP. Back in TNA, and I know some of you who follow wrestling outside WWE know this, Bobby Lashley was the Impact champion a couple years back, and MVP was his manager, and he was really good. All right, Lashley just did all the fighting in the ring, while MVP did all the talking for Lashley. Very similar to what they do with Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar. I really think it would be pretty cool. All right, and I see Black Panther. You said Charlotte Flair needs to lose the NXT Women's Championship to Io Shirai. I agree, but I think I'd rather see Rhea Ripley win the championship back, or Candice LeRae. Either Candice LeRae or Rhea Ripley. One of those two need to be the one to take the title off of Charlotte. Charlotte is awful. Well, imagine if they have Charlotte lose the NXT Women's Championship just to come back on Raw to become champion again. Just because now that Becky is gone. I pray they don't do that, but I would not be surprised. I would rip this show. I would rip WWE in general if they decide to make a stupid ass decision like that. But like I said, I feel like it would be pretty cool if we could have like Paul Heyman versus and Brock Lesnar, going up against MVP and Bobby Lashley in promo battles. I feel like that would be pretty cool. But like I said, in TNA, MVP and Lashley worked really good together. I really think WWE should continue this relationship on Monday Night Raw. And it definitely seems MVP basically told Lashley to go after the WWE Championship. So I don't, Drew McIntyre, he doesn't really have an opponent. Drew has plenty of challengers, And now that he's opposed to Seth, you could do Drew versus Randy. Eventually, you can do Drew versus Lashley, Drew versus Owens, Drew versus Edge, Drew versus Andrade. I pray they don't do this, but I know we're definitely are going to get it. We're gonna get Drew versus Jinder Mahal at some point. Like, there's no reason. I don't care what anybody says. There's no Drew McIntyre has been fantastic, and I hate how Drew McIntyre's championship run has been in front of no crowd. But Drew McIntyre, should hold that championship for nearly all of this year. The guy is way too good. The guy is fantastic at what he does, but I won't be surprised if we get Drew versus Lashley at Backlash, but we'll just have to wait and see. Moving on, we had Akira Tozawa versus Angel Garza. Before the match, there was a lot of bickering between Garza, Theory, and Andrade backstage. And, remember a couple of weeks ago when we were talking about on the podcast how it looked like WWE was building Zelina's faction of Garza, Theory, and Andrade to be the best heel faction on all of WWE TV, and they would run roughshod on Monday Night Raw. Well, let's look at it now 1 month later. None of them was in the Money in the Bank. Andrade's United States Championship, in my opinion, looks meaningless because he barely ever defends it. Kind of similar to what they were doing with Becky Lynch to an extent. But 1 month later, the faction is basically buried. Nobody gives a crap about them. I don't give a crap about them. The only person I give a crap about really in that stable is Garza, and I love Zelina Vega. She's amazing and beautiful. But they were bickering, and it seems like WWE's already like, I don't know. It's like WWE's already teasing a breakup of the stable. So basically, they had this match tonight, and you guys know Tozawa on NXT. He's doing really well in the whole NXT Cruiserweight interim championship. He's like 2-0 in his heat, and he's one of the favorites to win the championship. We'll just have to wait and see. I wouldn't be surprised if he won it, but we'll just have to wait and see. I just hate how, on NXT, they make Tozawa look really great and they book him correctly, but then on Raw, the guy's a glorified jobber who loses every single week. It honestly is mind-blowing in my opinion. I don't understand why WWE does it. But Garza wins the match, and basically after the match, him, Theory, and Andrade get into another argument. Zelina Vega is attempting to separate them, and then Drew McIntyre comes out. And we know that Drew McIntyre has been pretty much burying this team over the last month or so. So basically, out of nowhere, he hit a double Claymore kick to Austin Theory and Garza. Then he comes face to face with Andrade. This leads into a match. And I love Andrade and Drew McIntyre. Like I said, Drew McIntyre has been fantastic as a WWE champion. This was a good match, but still, a good short match between these two, I'll take it every single week. Like, the two are spectacular. They're spectacular. I would like to see them in a 20-minute title match, but, we'll see if we ever get to that point. I know Vince McMahon said if Andrade wants to, to see himself higher in the crowd, he has to learn English, which I perfectly agree with Vince McMahon. Can't always be, relying on Zelina Vega's, godlike mic skills. But, he beat Andrade with the Claymore kick. Like I said, Drew is being booked the way any champion should be booked. He wins his matches. He does his business. He defends his title. That's the way any champion should look. You should not have your champion losing on WWE TV. I don't give a damn who it is. But after the match, he took the microphone and he once again, praised Seth Rollins for the fantastic match which they had last night, which it was one of the best matches, on the main roster this year. Only thing is, I wish there was a crowd there to bring it to another level. But he talked about, how great of an opponent Seth was and how that's what he needed to, kick off his title reign. Then he referenced the brand challenge. So basically, we've heard reports that WWE, Raw, and SmackDown, because of the failing ratings, both networks want to, let superstars from other brands appear to up viewership. So it's not like they're ending the brand split, because since, WWE moved the Fox back in October, for the most part, outside of what they did with Survivor Series, they've done a really good job of keeping the brands separate. But, you guys know what I would do. If I was in charge, I would still have Raw and SmackDown be separate brands, but I would have, no separation of the tag team or women's divisions. I would have no tag team division. No Raw and SmackDown tag team division. I would just have one set of titles that would float between Raw and SmackDown. Same thing for the women's division. That's my thoughts on that. But still, it's like they're ending the brand split in a way. It's similar to the wild card rule. Remember how bad the wild card rule was, but last year you would have the same members of Raw and SmackDown appearing on Raw and SmackDown every single week. Because I remember when they moved Roman Reigns to SmackDown in the Superstar Shakeup last year. It's like they used the wildcard rule just as an excuse so they could also have Roman Reigns on Raw, because you know how Vince is horny for Roman Reigns. You would have like Kofi Kingston showing up every single week. It was honestly bad. It was bad. But they said with this whole brand to brand invitational, only about 1 or 2 superstars would be appearing each and every single week on each show. So you could see a Sasha Banks on Raw, 1 week. You could see an AJ Styles back on SmackDown, the house that he built, and all this other stuff. We'll just have to wait and see. But I don't think this is the answer to, bring the ratings back up. The answer is making quality TV. Raw and SmackDown, mostly Raw for the last month or so, has been absolutely garbage. The show's been awful, and I don't want to hear the excuse of we're in a pandemic. If you are choosing to go live on Raw and SmackDown every single week, that's on you. That's your decision, and you need to own up to that decision and do your best to give us quality TV each and every single week. I don't give a crap what anybody says. All right, but Drew talked about Baron Corbin, how, back when Baron Corbin was running Monday Night Raw before he became King of the Ring, how him and Drew were buddies, and how he could not wait to kick Corbin's head off next week. So it was confirmed that next week we will be getting Drew McIntyre versus Baron Corbin. You guys can hear the fucking excitement in my voice. I'm so excited for this match. Who the hell cares about King Corbin? I can't stand seeing this guy on SmackDown. I can't stand seeing this guy with his stupid ass crown. Why the hell would I want to see him twice a week? It's already bad enough to have to deal with him on SmackDown on Fridays. Now you're telling me I'm gonna have to deal with him on Monday Night Raw? Have you lost your mind? Like, really? Please spare us the misery. Spare us the misery, please. Oh, I don't understand this company. I really don't. Anyway. And I'm just looking. I got another text from my boy about the whole Oscar situation. Anyway, whatever. Like I said, though, Drew McIntyre, he's looked great as champion. They did do like an exclusive interview with Jinder Mahal, and Jinder talked about how he wants to be on top of Raw just like Drew McIntyre, and how this time things are going to be different. Like I said, and just look at Jinder's body. They're building him up. We're gonna get a Drew McIntyre Jinder Mahal match. I won't be surprised if it happens at SummerSlam. Drew has been fantastic as WWE champion, and they're gonna wreck it once we get Drew McIntyre versus Jinder Mahal. All right, please. But I'm not excited about Drew McIntyre versus Baron Corbin next week. Please. Anyway, we had a moment of piss. Yes, a moment of piss has returned to Monday Night Raw, aka a moment of bliss. Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross with their meaningless tag team championships. They appeared on Raw. They talked about, Becky Lynch and, her announcement. I don't know why they had to keep announcing. And it's one of the reasons why I hate Tom Phillips, man. The guy says everything over and over and over again. On the road to Money in the Bank, we have to deal with freaking Tom Phillips going like, oh, climb up the corporate ladder, the most unique Money in the Bank match of all time. And now, you know how many times tonight we had to deal with freaking with Tom Phillips talking about Becky Lynch's pregnancy? Like, we got it the first 10 times. How many times you have to explain to us about Becky being pregnant? We understand. Anybody can go on the internet and figure out that Becky Lynch is pregnant. You don't have to shove it down our throats. Like, we get it. She's pregnant. Let her go have her baby and enjoy her life. Like, geez. Watch. I'm willing to bet they're going to send a WWE camera crew to Becky and Seth's house during her pregnancy, just so when she does have the baby, they can have a whole documentary on the WWE network about her pregnancy experience. Watch. I'm willing to bet. You really think Becky's going to disappear from WWE TV? I don't. Anyway, I talked about yesterday how they should use Sasha Banks and Bayley to make the Women's Tag Team Championships look a little bit important, right? And use it to, you know, for their feud. Well, we're not getting that. You know, during the Moment of Piss segment, guess who came back? Iconic! The Iconics have returned! Really? The Iconics. WWE took them off TV months ago, and we heard all these rumors about them being repackaged. I didn't see no repackaging of the Iconics tonight. They look like the same Iconics that ruined the WWE Women's Tag Team titles. Remember when the Iconics were Women's Tag Team Champions and they were defending those titles against jobbers on SmackDown last year? I remember. The second Vince and WWE decided to take those titles off Sasha Banks and Bayley to put them on the freaking Iconics at WrestleMania last year, those championships became meaningless. They're just props. They don't mean anything. If you had those titles on Sasha Banks and Bayley, they would be important. But no matter if those titles are on Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross or the Iconics, it doesn't matter. It's garbage. It's garbage. The Iconics challenged Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross to a championship match right then and there, but Alexa Bliss is like, that's not the way things roll. Nikki Cross backed her up saying, nah, you have to earn a match for our tag team championships. Yeah, all right, that makes sense. But yet when Carmella and Dana Brooke on SmackDown last week, or a couple weeks back, when they asked for a tag team title match against Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross, Nikki was very quick to say, yes, let's give it to them. Please. Disgusting. So anyway, the Iconics are like, fine, we won't, if you're not going to give us a tag team or championship match, it's whatever. But you said we're not leaving without a match because we're going to prove to you guys that we don't need those titles to be great. So, ooh, the Iconics look like they got a little bit of muscle, right? So we get a referee and we get an impromptu tag team match. I'm not going to talk about the match because I didn't watch the match. You know, basically, Peyton Royce was able to, I forgot how she won the match. I think it was via roll-up. I don't really care. But they were able to get the win, you know, getting them into a tag team championship match. Honestly, if you look at it, there's only, and it's very similar to what's going on with the Raw and SmackDown tag team division. They're one of only 3 teams in the whole entire division. Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose, aka Fire and Desire, they're broken up. They're no longer a tag team. Asuka and Kairi Sane, yes, they're still a tag team, but Asuka's Raw Women's Champion. She's not going after the tag team titles anytime soon. You know, maybe it would be cool to see, you know, Asuka 2 belts, right? I think it would be a little bit cool to see Asuka 2 belts, but I don't think WWE's going to do that and have Asuka and Kairi Sane become Women's Tag Team Champions again. Sasha Banks and Bayley, we all know. I said they should use the Women's Tag Team titles to further Sasha Banks and Bayley's feud, which is eventually coming in the next couple months on the road to SummerSlam. But, you know, I don't think we're going to get that. All right, I don't think we're going to get that. You know, so there's only really 2 teams in the entire division, Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross and the Iconics. And it's already been confirmed that next week on Raw, we will be getting a tag team championship match between the Iconics and Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. I will not be watching, just like I didn't watch their match tonight. Absolute garbage. I don't care about the Iconics. We all know they ruined the tag team titles. We already know that they ruined the tag team titles, and if WWE, gives it to them again, it's not like they can ruin them anymore because the titles are already ruined. They're already ruined. So who cares? Who cares? I'm not excited for this match next week. We had R-Truth, Ricochet, and Cedric Alexander versus Brandon Vink, Shane Thorne, and MVP. This was a 6-man tag team match. Whatever, I didn't really care about the match. This was pretty stupid if you ask me. Truth got the win. Truth got the win with the lie detector. And after the match, Bobby Lashley hit the ring. And he hit Truth inside out with a spear, And then Bobby Lashley was talking to the MVP. They were actually in the arena, and Lashley said to MVP, "We need to go talk." So, like I said, it looks like they are, teasing a reunion of Bobby Lashley and MVP. There was also a segment earlier in the night, I don't really care, about MVP and Lana. MVP was like, if Bobby had sense, he would drop you and let me be his manager. And then Lana, being as awful as she is, starts screaming in their face like, "What do you know? All right, you don't know anything. Shut your mouth." Like, Lana's awful. Honestly, they have Lana come to these Raw tapings just to show up for 30 seconds to scream and yell. It's pointless. And it's terrible. It's terrible. Lana sucks. And, they need to break up Lana and Lashley. Like, she sucks. She's awful. All right, awful. But it looks like we're going to see a reunion of Lashley and MVP. Like I said, they should build up Lashley for a WWE Championship match. Last but not least, the last thing we have to talk about on this show tonight was Natalya versus Shayna Baszler. And earlier in the night, Charlie Caruso interviewed Shayna Baszler. And you guys know I went on a rant last night on Money in the Bank of how Shayna Baszler is buried. She didn't even make it to the roof. Nia Jax wasn't even on Monday Night Raw tonight, but yet she made it to the roof and almost became Raw Women's Champion. Like I said earlier in the podcast, if Nia Jax or Lacey Evans had won that match tonight, or last night at Money in the Bank, and they were the Raw Women's Champion, we would be having a much different conversation. I would be ranting and ripping this show to fucking shreds. Shayna Baszler is buried in my eyes, but she is still fantastic. So Charlie Caruso interviewed Shayna Baszler, and basically Caruso asked Shayna Baszler what's her thoughts on Becky Lynch's pregnancy announcement, and freaking Shayna Baszler went off. She went off. It was freaking hilarious. She said, Becky's gonna go have a miserable parasite as a child. You're telling me that Shayna went like, 9 out of 10 women, or it was like 10 out of 10 women, when they go to have children, they never go back to their careers. Like, pregnancy it has a huge effect on women. We don't know how long Becky's gonna be gone. I expect Becky to come back in about a year and a half, but we don't know. There's always the possibility that pregnancy is too rough on Becky, and Becky just decides to become a full-time mom. She can make a career in Hollywood. She might retire. Who knows? Who knows? But we'll just have to wait and see what happens with Becky down the line. But Shayna then continues to go off. So you're telling me that Becky Lynch, who has had a 399 Raw Women's Championship reign, the most dominant Raw Women's Champion of all time, who is in the prime of her career, she decides to go get knocked up, and now the man is going to be sitting at home eating bonbons? I'm laughing. And then to put the cherry on top, Shayna Baszler goes like, "Have you seen her husband? Or have you seen who the father is, aka Seth Rollins? That child's going to be a miserable brat." And I just start laughing. I laughing my ass off. Even though, this doesn't take away from the fact that Shayna Baszler is buried and so never become anything special on the main roster. I think Money in the Bank proved that to all of us when she didn't even make it to the fucking roof. But still, a fantastic promo by Shayna Baszler. All right, good to see you, Paul. All right, good to see you in the chat, man. Anyway, then later on, Natalya comes up to Shayna Baszler because they're supposed to have a match, and and Natalia was like, being a mother, those comments were really disrespectful. And then Shayna Baszler was like, huh, Natalia, what do you know about being a mother? You're never going to become a mother, right? I guess I don't know if Tyson, the kid, and Natalia are ever going to have babies. I don't know what's that whole deal. I don't really care. Maybe the people that watch WWE Total Divas can fill us in on that. But that was hilarious. Then Shayna ends it by saying, we all know that the Hart Foundation legacy ends with you. It's basically saying that Natalia's going to be the last of her family tree because she's never going to have children. And I fucking laughed. I was hysterically laughing, man. But I didn't watch the match. All I know is Baszler, I did see the ending. Baszler rolled through when Natalia tried to roll her up for a 2 count. Baszler rolls through and hits her with a huge knee to the face for the 1, 2, 3. After the match, Natalia kicked the ropes out of frustration after losing. I don't know. Maybe they need to turn Natalia heel. I wouldn't mind, because Natalia, she's much better to see you. Natalia is much better as a heel than a babyface. I don't care about Natalia either way. She sucks. But, I would much rather take Natalia as a heel than a babyface. Maybe they could, set up a feud between Asuka and Natalia. Who knows? But other than that, Shayna Baszler, she was great tonight, but I still see her as buried. I don't think WWE will ever, be high on Shayna Baszler, which is kind of a damn shame. If we do get an Asuka and Shayna Baszler match, it won't be as special as it could be because they fucked it up at the Elimination Chamber. But still, I'll take an Asuka versus Shayna Baszler match any day of the week. So Shayna Baszler gets the win over Natalia here. And yeah, we've already talked about everything else on the show. So other than that, guys, that is all I got for the Legit Shoot podcast here tonight. We basically went nearly an hour and a half, again, almost the same length of the podcast last night for Money in the Bank. But yeah, that's about all I got for you guys. Thank you for everyone that came through to the chat. I know we had a lot of people flowing through the chat here tonight. I want to thank everyone for the support. It's been a long weekend, but I'm always here for you guys, giving you guys that content. If you guys didn't check out the Money in the Bank review, it was really good, just like tonight's pod. So make sure to go check that out. It is live on the channel. I'll probably put in an annotation somewhere right here so you guys can go see it. But thank you guys for the love and support tonight. If you guys are new to the channel, leave a like on this video, comment, subscribe. If you guys are already subscribed, if you guys enjoyed the podcast tonight, leave a like. It does a lot for the video. It helps get the video more exposure, and it brings more eyes to the channel. So thank you guys for the support. Leave a like on the video if you guys enjoyed. Comment what you guys thought of Raw tonight. Subscribe if you guys are new. If you guys are new to the channel, enable notifications by clicking the bell next to my name, Fitzmonk TV, so you guys are notified every time I post a new video. Thank you to everyone who live tweeted with me tonight. Follow me on social media. That is the quickest way, because I respond pretty quickly, especially now that we're in quarantine. If you guys want me to respond, make sure to follow me on social media. Follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram, add me on Snapchat, all that, because I'm pretty active on there. Thank you guys for everything here tonight. Thank you guys for joining me here tonight on the Legit Shoot podcast. I'll most likely see you guys on Friday for SmackDown. I'm thinking about making a video talking about Becky Lynch's legacy, if this is a Becky Lynch retirement, but I might make that video later on in the week. But thank you guys for everything once again. You guys are great. You guys are fantastic. Continue to stay safe and healthy, and I'll see you guys later. Have a great night, guys. Peace.